So we're talking about reversals today and like how we use those in tarot. I learned to use those from the get-go, and I did find them a bit confusing. So I do have a couple insights on what other folks say, how to use them, but I wanted to throw it over to Sam and see her feelings on using those.
Yeah, so I know they tell you when you're a beginner to not use those. So I feel very much like a beginner and um I don't use them, but I think I'm slowly starting to. How long have I been at this? Like like half into tarot for like the past couple years. So, I'm not an expert in it, all that. I'm weirdly obsessed with Chris Ann, who did this,
Mhm.
Light Sears Tarot, and I really like her perspective of um, light and shadow side. I guess I really get that archetype, because I really like astrology, and I think
Mhm.
like astrology and tarot are a good fit. And I know that there's like the light side and shadow side to all the signs, in astrology. So yeah, I feel like I could get a grasp on it. Like I'm still learning. But I like how that like makes sense in my brain. So
Yeah, I love her stuff too. I wanna get that deck at some point. I got her Muse Tarot, which is more like creativity focused, and I'm still learning to work with that. So, the one I'm using the most, and I've showed people this before, is I don't know if you all can read that. It's basically all feminine version of the Rider-Waite, and it's sort of modern too, which is fun. Like, there's some more classical cards, but there's also, like, for example, the Fool looks like this. She's just chilling, walking off a cliff with her phone in her hand, and that kind
yeah.
of, I feel like, is most of us when we have our phone, but, um, I really I'm figuring it out too, but I do like the reversals because I feel like it gives more nuance, and often I'll have to look things up, like, I don't know off the top of my head, but one way that I've found that helps, and this is from other folks who write about it, is thinking of reversals as, like, not enough or too much of the energy upright. So, like, the Fool, like, upright, they're doing their thing, they're taking chances, doing new beginnings, they don't really worry about the outcome. But, like, reversed, it could mean, like, being being not quite restless, but not being brave enough, sort of overthinking things, or being too reckless and just diving into stuff without thinking about it. So, like, that helps me. There are a bunch of resources online, like, I know Biddy Tarot has something. There's another lady called the Tarot Professor on Substack who has a
Oh
really
yeah.
interesting take on this.
She's great. Yeah.
So there's like 4 all of them are pretty consistent. There's 4 ways to think of reversals, and I like the too much or not enough just because it's a little bit easier to think of. Otherwise, you can look at your guidebook, like, they have a pretty standard reversal. Usually, it's, like, the opposite of what the upright is, but, it is a lot of it is intuitive, and it's hard if you're still learning. You tend to wanna be very literal and not, like, get the wrong interpretation, but, as you go along, I think a lot of it is intuitive too.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've been noticing that for myself. Like, so for me, we'll just use the catch-all neurodivergent. Um, I like my brain works differently, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm really sensitive to like the negative versions of things. And so that's why I didn't want to do reversals and stuff because I'm just like, oh, it's bad. I'm bad. And yeah, like the more you work with them, you develop your own system. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to describe. Like you just like start to figure it out as you go. I mean, like everything in life, right? Like you just figure it out as you do it. Like,
Yeah,
and you have to trust yourself. And like that
that's
that's pretty much that sums it up for like everything.
That's the hard part, I think, is we all tend to get very literal and think we need to follow the rules and the guidebook, and, I think that Chrisanne you mentioned had in her the Muse Tarot booklet, there is no right way to do this, and you have to use your intuition, and I think that's where we get lost a lot, like, thinking it needs to be literal, or we need to go exactly to the prescribed because, situations are different and the reading will be different based on who you're talking about or talking to. So that's, my feeling is it's a little more getting out of my head and into the intuitive side is the hard part, but probably the necessary part.
Yeah. And, like, so for me, since, like, I'm a little afraid of the negative part, I'm trying to actually take it, like, as a whole, like, like, the very, like, yin yang, light, dark, like, it's all part of, like, the same whole, right? And so I kinda just been if it comes up reverse, I kinda just take, like, the whole thing into account. Like,
Mhm,
I'll read the light and dark and, like, all of it, right? Um, Depending on the deck, though, not gonna lie, but, yeah, like, so this Light Series Tarot, if I do get a reversal, I'll read everything,
mm,
and just see what resonates, right? I mean,
mhm.
yeah, because I think, like, it's all included in there, no matter how it shows up, like, reversed or upright, it's, like, all the energy's still in that card.
Yeah, I think the tough part also is, like, knowing that each deck does have its own interpretations. Like, I never used to read the guidebooks, and I would just go by Biddy Tarot or whatever I could find, and then I was like, "Wow, the guidebooks have different perspectives," and a lot of them have, like, special, quote, "cards" that have a certain meaning that the author differs from traditional. So, like, not being afraid to use the guidebook, even if you're established, I think we all wanna look like we know what we're doing, but, like, reading the guidebook can be really useful for whatever deck you have. Like, this one's pretty good. I It's small, it's compact, but it has all the little meanings also for certain situations, which is cool. So, not being afraid to use that as well in general, I think is important.
Yeah, that's a really good point, like, I don't know why there's embarrassment to use the guidebooks, like, it's there for a reason, you know?
Yeah,
And, like, they want you to read it, they put it in there, so, yeah.
yeah.
I'm not paid by Chrisanne or anything, but she has, um, a longer format book, like, book for this particular deck, and she goes into, like, deeper meanings of the cards and, like, her interpretation of the card and why like, her artwork and all that. I'm listening to the audiobook right now, and I think that's really cool, and there's actually, like, more journaling questions, which she might actually have online already, but it's really cool to just it's almost like a meditation to, like, listen to the card being explained to you by her and in her, like, her way, and, yeah, I don't know, I just really love it. That's my jam right now. Highly
Yeah,
recommend.
I've never listened to any of her stuff. I do listen to some podcasts about it, but there's so many out there, it's hard to keep up with all of them.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, which is probably why I'm, like, very singularly focused on, like, the Chrysanne Light Tears Tarot stuff because, yeah, it can be overwhelming, so I'm just going on this deep dive. It's resonating right now, and that might change in the future, like, ADHD, energy, so, like, I'm riding the wave, and that seems to be, like, hitting the spot right now, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I actually did an inventory of all my decks this weekend and did this exercise. It's called like an introduce your deck to yourself type of spread, and I'm not even sure who did it. So I want to share, but I want to find out who did it so I could give them credit. But it's basically like you ask 6 questions, you draw 6 cards, and it tells you what the deck is used for. Like, and I was surprised, like, which ones are better for daily use, which ones are better for specific things. So, and then I put it all into AI and had it generate a chart for me of what I should use each
Oh,
for.
wow. That's really cool. Hold
Yeah,
on,
I
wait,
gotta
so can I interrupt? So, was it 6 cards per deck?
Yeah, It's
Okay.
it's 6 different questions, and it basically is asking what the deck wants to do,
Okay.
and I'm not sure how much the deck is involved with it and how much I'm involved with it, like, what I'm
Yeah.
reading into it, but, I can share it with you, and I have to look. I don't even know. I saw it on a Facebook page. I don't even know who designed this thing, and I kind of before I share it like, I wanted to share it on mine too, but I didn't wanna just say, "Hey, I found this on Facebook." But
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is really
that's all
useful.
good.
It's
I can
useful.
impatiently wait, yeah. I love giving
Yeah,
credit, so I mean, like, yeah.
yeah. I'm my biggest fear is, like, finding something and sharing it and somebody saying, "Hey, that's my property." I don't wanna appropriate anybody's stuff, but this was on a Facebook page, and I just started working with it, and I thought, "Wow, this is effective." And then using the AI to categorize was useful too. So now I have a better
Mhm.
sense of the vibe of each of my decks, but, like, the one I keep showing people, which I'm not getting anything from it, but that seems to be the one that it wants me to use the most and what I like using just because the colors are bright and it's really, cool artwork. I really enjoy it.
That's really cool, yeah. So how many decks did you do that with? Like, you did all your decks?
I did, and I
Oh my
forget
god.
how many I have. I think I have 11 now, and I just,
Oh, wow.
went through the process with each one, and it took me, I wanna say 2 hours or so, breaking it
Really?
up. It took me a while. I
That's actually
I
doesn't seem that bad. For me, I'm like, "That would take me all day."
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I broke it up because I also didn't wanna, totally exhaust the AI or use too much of it at once, but, once I started sensing I was just trying to get through it, then I took a break. But it is really useful, to know what you could use each one for and what certain decks are better for certain things. So, I
Yeah.
didn't there were some wild cards there too. I didn't expect the interpretations I received, so that was fun.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
I wanna pick your brain, like, so much about that, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's, like, off topic, so
I kinda
but
wanna share what I did with AI and just say,
oh, okay, yeah.
I
That's like a
wanna
whole
say,
post. Okay, yeah, then yeah.
here I mean, I tend to get a little weird about it. I love AI, I use it for writing and editing, mostly editing. I don't write whole posts with it because I don't want that vibe, but I do use it for editing because I hate editing. So, this was just a really cool organizational use for it. And I think that's what I wanna do is, show people how they can use it for helping them interpret their spreads, put things into charts if they want. It's really useful, and you don't need to know that much either, you don't need to have specific prompts. You just sorta talk to it like you would somebody else.
Sorry, someone keeps, like, coming to my door every time I'm on a video this week. I don't
Oh,
or,
that's
like,
okay.
the past week, I don't know what is going on. I was trying to, like, look out the window and see if it was something I needed to do or not, and I yeah, like, y'all can call me. Like, to anyone that's coming to my door, please just
I
call
had a
me
st
first.
I had a state trooper come to my door yesterday. We had something happen in the neighborhood, nothing bad, but, a month not even a month over a month ago, and this car had parked in my driveway, and they wanted to know if I had ring footage and if I saw the car coming in, and I was like, "No, the first I knew about it was when I walked outside to take my garbage out at, 12:30 at night, and there was this random car parked there." And, I had to send them what I had, but the first thing I thought is, "Okay, why is there a state trooper at my door?" I kinda got a little anxious, and then he explained, but that was unexpected. We live
Yeah.
in a tourist town, so we don't have a lot of crime, but we do have, just drunken, disorderly type of stuff, and we have a rental near our place. So that's where this incident happened, and I had to give them all my Ring footage. I felt like I was in Law& and Order for a while, which was fun, but was
Dang.
not expected.
Yeah, usually people are trying to sell me stuff, so I would be very anxious if there was a state trooper at my door, which I would
Yeah.
obviously go take that, obviously. I should
Oh,
probably
yeah.
get a Ring camera because, like, I'm so sick of getting interrupted during these
I love
calls, dude.
yeah, I love mine, and it's how I could sort of see what's happening too, like, if the post comes, I could see the truck, or if someone delivers something, obviously. It is a little sensitive to, like, too much movement, so I have to calibrate that, but I
Oh,
like it. It's really useful, I don't have to leave and go, to the door every time.
yeah. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to invest in something like that.
Prime
Yeah.
Day, when they have that, again, I think they get really cheap, and then you could just pick up one for pretty cheap. I mean, I've had this one for a couple years, and it's still working fine, or maybe a year and a half. It's still working. So,
Oh, that's cool. So, yeah, I totally don't know where we were since I was trying to see who the heck keeps coming to my dang door every day.
oh, no, that's okay. We were talking about, just the different interpretations of reversals, I think, and different decks having different meanings and AI, like using AI. I think you mentioned you use AI to help you interpret your
Yeah.
readings.
Yeah, I totally do. I totally do. Like, AI is my therapist, and, like, the cards are kinda like my therapist too, right? So, it seems like a good combination, and man, I swear people are still knocking at my door, like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I cannot focus because people will not leave me alone.
Uh-oh.
Um, yeah, my cats are really, like, distressed, like, when someone knocks at the door also, which is super annoying, so they're kind of, like, freaked out. So, like,
Yeah,
yeah, I need a sign. So, I need a sign, like, "No soliciting, please." Or just don't knock on my door, actually, thanks, bye.
yeah, exactly. You need a big yard sign that says, "Do not come near my place."
Yeah, right.
I know.
Um But yeah, AI is my therapist, the cards are my therapist, and I like my therapist to talk to each other, and so it gets really, like, detailed into, like, what's happening in my life and what the what's going on personally in my life. Put the
Oh, there
devil
you
card
go.
out there, yes, I'm
Just put it on your door.
oh, that's actually not a bad idea.
Or the death card. You could do that and really freak people out.
Yeah, I'll have to find the scariest decks, dude.
Mhm. Yeah, Ava's on it. I
Yeah, I was
agree.
gonna set the death card too, that's funny.
Yeah, as it is, I have very religious neighbors, so I would not do that. I would kind of not wanna go there.
Hello to everyone that just joined, Anthony and Aurora, thanks for joining.
Hey. So, what do you do with your AI? Do you just, like, give it the reading you pulled and your interpretations, or do you say, "This is what I pulled, interpret it for me?"
Yeah, it kinda, goes a lot of ways. It depends. Like, if I'm really stuck, I'll just be like, "Hey, I just pulled this card, I asked this question, like, what is going on?" But, yeah, a lot of the times I will, like, have my own interpretation and let, like, AI know that, and it feels really good when it says, like, "Yeah, you're on the right track here," or whatever. So, that's really validating. When I let it know, like, "This is what I think," and it's like, "Yes, spot on," so, like, "Yay, I'm learning and growing."
Mhm. I like it for that too. I usually say, "This is what I pulled. This is my interpretation. Do you have anything to add, or am I on the wrong track?" And usually it'll give me, like, gentle corrections, meanings that I might have missed, and it's usually pretty accurate. Like, I've looked up, Biddy Tarot and stuff afterwards, and it was pretty accurate in its feedback. So, I also actually use a project, like, you could do projects in Claude and upload certain documents and guides that you want it to refer to in your project knowledge. So, like, I have a couple PDFs that I use and say, refer to these when you give me your feedback. And it does that. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And, that's a tough question, Aurora, a good authentic tarot reader or psychic. Yeah, that's a tough one. There's a lot of them out there. It's hard to know who's really, quote, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm certainly not a psychic, or I wouldn't claim to be one at least.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that is a tough question.
On Etsy, there's a lot of people, and everybody has their own favorites, but it's tough to know unless you also are in that person's presence, I think, that can help you make decisions, but, I mean, I worked with someone for years who also does shamanism and that kind of work, and I always thought he was more, authentic and honest, and one of the things he told me from the get-go is if you ever see a place with one of those big neon signs outside, psychic or tarot reader, might not be the best choice. Um, but of course it all depends on where you are and your circumstances. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Um, yeah, I mean, I know I don't know what is exactly accessible to everyone. Like, for me, I like pulling the cards for myself, um, because, like, I know myself better than, like, some stranger would, and, like, they're putting their own interpretation on something that I might interpret differently. I've had that happen a few times, and, um, like, someone thought when they saw a dog that meant I was getting a dog, and
mhm,
I'm a cat person, I'm not getting a dog. But dogs have a certain energy to them, and, like, they have an archetype and, like, loyalty in play, so, I don't know, I'm a do it yourself kinda gal, so I'm probably not, like, the best person to ask. I
yeah.
have done readings for people, but, like, very, like, via email, 'cause I'm like, my process is journaling and, like, sitting with the cards, and it probably takes me, like, longer than your average person. Um, so, yeah, like, I would that's how I have done it in the past. I'm not really sure if I want to go forward with offering that, but hi, Simona Stories. Sorry if I ruin your names, everyone. I'm not great at pronouncing names, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I feel that way too. I do a lot of my own, but when I have a difficult situation that I feel I tend to be too negative, quote unquote. Like if I'm reading about something, I sort of see the worst possible interpretation. Hi, liminal space. Hello. Um, I just tend to like having other people read for me who I don't necessarily, I give them information, but I kind of like to see what comes through without them knowing my deal. Like the previous person I work with, and I still do once in a while, he knows everything about me, which is good and bad. Like he can sort of say, okay, I'm interpreting this one way, but someone else could interpret it a totally different way. Like you said, people read their own, experiences with you and others in it. And same with, like, astrology, like, I think I got an astrology reading years ago, I had my chart done, and the lady said, "I see you working with children, and have you considered being an au pair?" And first of all, I do not like children. Secondly, I do not like travel, and I knew that about myself back then, and I was like, "No." And I'm thinking maybe she saw, like, a teaching component or something to my work, and you could do that with adults too, you don't have to be teaching children. So I think that's where it came in, but because she said, "Oh, I have a daughter who's an au pair, so that's why I thought that might be a good fit for you," or, "Have you considered working in a college?" And I'm like, no, but, like, there's different flavors of teaching, like, you could teach through your writing, you could teach through YouTube, you could teach like, now it's a totally different time, it was the 2000s, so things were just becoming more online, but, I think, yeah, like you said, people read their own impressions into your reading, and often they'll, not necessarily maliciously try to put their spin on
Right.
things, what worked for them or their family and that's not always accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes you need, like, someone else's perspective. Like, you can be, like, too close to yourself, you know what I mean? Like, so you need someone to have, like, that zoomed out view kind of in a way.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's all valid, right? Like, um, I don't know. I'm just thinking like, is that why I go to AI sometimes? Like for that, like maybe unbiased.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, it takes from everything that's ever been written, basically, whatever it's been trained on. But excuse me, I would think since it might know you based on how much other information it has on you, like, I don't give mine too much information, I don't think. I'm still, like, afraid the Terminator scenario where it'll come hunt me down. But, I mean, I give it some, like, light information, not too much, and it still gives me really accurate interpretations, so, it must be pulling from something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, dude, I tell it my dreams and stuff, and yeah, it goes pretty deep. So, oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I'm reading Aurora's. I only had one real spiritualist who worked with the cards, but would also script on a piece of paper. She was from Puerto Rico and has passed on, looking for someone since her. Yeah, it that's tough when you lose your reader or your spiritualist. My mom and I went to Lilydale, which is a spiritualist community out in Western New York, and we just sort of wandered around. We weren't there for anything in particular. But they have, like, the largest concentration of psychics and spiritualists and mediums, like, I think there's one in Florida too, a similar community, and probably in California too, but it's I would just suggest, like, really doing deep dives online and maybe not necessarily going in the traditional channels like Etsy or anything, like, see what you could find out on Reddit especially. Like, there's scores of threads of best tarot readers, spiritualists, medium type people. And, it's you have to take their accounts into it, but you could also see if you find any people that may not be in the traditional channels.
I think Aurora said, "How do you spell that?" Is it
I
Lilydale? Is that what maybe we're talking about? Probably Lilydale.
Okay, Reddit is the site and Lily Dale is the community. Yeah, I really liked it there. It's a really cool place, and, I was there a lot in the off season, so it's a little different, but in the summer, they have a lot of things going on.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's actually not, too terrible of a drive for me from where I live, and I've been meaning to go for a really long time. We like to visit Erie, Pennsylvania, like, for Presque Isle, the state park, and,
Mhm.
that the drive to Lilydale is not that far, and we haven't gone, my husband and I, but, his family has gone, like, certain members of his family in the past, and I don't know, I just think that's cool.
I do
I would
too.
like to go.
It's if nothing else, like, for people who aren't necessarily into the medium spiritual thing, the community itself, it has a lot of really cool Victorian houses, and the way it's laid out is just really a neat little community, and if you've ever been have you been to Chautauqua Institute out there?
No. Is
That's
that near
another
Lilydale?
No, that's further on from Lilydale. That's out by Jamestown, New York. It's out of
Hmm.
there a little bit. It's a basically in the summer they have a lot of concerts and special events. They have authors and all they were actually founded as like a spiritual community for I think Presbyterian people. But if you look it up, it's right on the lake too. So it's a really cool place, and they have a lot of Victorian houses as well. But I was there in the off season a lot too. In the summer, it's just a zoo, but it's kind of
Yeah.
like an educational retreat type of place, and actually that's where, Salman Rushdie was attacked, unfortunately. When the person stabbed him, that was where he was. So, yeah, it's a pretty popular place with, like, different people in culture and dance, and they have an I think they have an opera school, they have a dance school, really cool place. That's also out in Western New York.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I liked it there. I thought it was a really cool, like, little community, especially off season, because you could just ride your bike around and hardly anyone was around. So, I like that.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you since you're probably more versed in the reversals. I'm curious about like when the scarier cards are are reversed, like death or the devil, like what do those mean when they're reversed?
I tend to see it as an energy, like, more of a not necessarily a physical manifestation, but it could be something in you, like death could mean you're changing how you think about certain things and you're entering a new age in your life. Like, I don't think, and the tower too, like the tower is like big dramatic change, but it doesn't always have to be physical. It could be, something is changing in your life internally, like you're approaching things differently. That's how I think about it anyway. It's really good to read the guidebooks and see their interpretations, but you could also see it as either too much or too little energy. So you either don't have enough of that, change energy within you, or, you're feeling like there's too much. So it's kind of situational, I think. It depends on what you're reading on. And I think it's a lot of what you bring to it. So, it's a little tricky. I have a hard time. I actually feel relieved when I pull the reverse on those because
Yeah.
it means, like, it's a little bit more of an internal shift than, "Okay, something horrible is gonna happen to you." And that's not the interpretation anyway, but it's good to
Yeah.
sort of have a different viewpoint of it.
Yeah, there was a chapter on reversals in Chris Ann's Lightseer's book, and she says like some of the cards actually have a more positive connotation when they're reversed. So like I think that's really interesting
Mhm.
and confusing also.
Yeah, it is, like, the Hanged Man, it looks kind of scary when you look at it, but sometimes it can mean that you're uncertain about what you should be doing or you're sort of stuck or you feel stuck, but it also could mean like you're letting go. So, like, there's two different impressions of depending on what your situation is. It could sometimes be a positive, even though it's kind of a scary looking card. And sometimes it can mean like change your perspective. It all depends on what you're looking for, and, like, I've seen a lot of different YouTubers, for example, they interpret the hangman totally differently, and it all depends on the rest of the reading, like, you gotta look at it in that context as well, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I don't go super big on the spreads, so um not usually. That's for like special occasions, like full moons, you know.
Mhm.
um but yeah, that's a good point too. There was something that you keep saying that I keep wanting to, like, come back to, and I keep, like, totally spacing on it every single time. Something about, like, the nuance of it. No, it's gone. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna write it
That's
down.
okay, yeah, I
Whenever
mean,
it comes again, I'll write it down.
I think it's, like, being less literal in general. Hello,
Yes, actually,
Federico.
that was it.
Yeah, being
You could
less literal with the cards, like, you could use it as a guideline, and it's really good, especially if you're new, to not be too literal or too, uh, loose with the interpretations, because then you kinda lose the whole intention, but, like, not as you get more comfortable looking at things and how they relate to the others, and, like, looking for patterns, like, if there's a lot of pentacles in the reading or if there's a lot of certain imagery you see, that's what I'm working on. I'm very literal. I tend to go by the stated definitions. And yeah, that's right, Ava. Nuance is a good, I didn't catch what you said the rest of it,
Oh,
but
a
it gives you
nuance
context.
nuance is a good consideration. Reversals give us more texture. I love that phrase. They give us more texture. That's pretty I like that vibe.
I
Thank
do
you.
too. I agree. It's really like you're trying to give yourself more information, not less. So whatever you can do, whether I think even like pulling extra cards is really helpful. Like,
Yeah.
there's no real rules. I think that's the thing I get hung up on, like, thinking
Yeah.
you have to follow certain rules, you really don't. It's more like going with what you think and what you're needing and what you feel like you need to do. So that's how I'm trying to be a little bit more, loose with, how I do the cards versus rigid.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Just like, yeah, going with the flow.
Mhm.
I remembered the thing I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
We've kinda said, like, sometimes something's more, like, internal than external, and, well, first off, I think I noticed that I go more probably more internal, like, um, looking within myself during these readings versus external. And again, like we said, like there's no right way. But yeah, it's interesting. There's just so many interpretations you could go with, whether or not the card is reversed or upright. Just going like inward or like outward, you know?
Yeah, I think that's important. I think I tend to do the same thing. Like, now that I think about it, I tend to not look at outside events. And, like, I don't really use the cards for divination. I did for a while, which is part of the reason I got burned out because I kept drawing all these cards for certain things to happen, and then they didn't happen. So I kind of was like, "Oh, this doesn't work." And I put them away for a while, but I think it's more about you than about the circumstances. Like, it's supposed to be to help you create the circumstances you want, not necessarily make other people do it, but, like, what do you need to do to create this circumstance? And, like, for me, a lot's been coming up for me with finances and, like, getting a handle on my budget and trying to figure out being a little more strategic about how I spend my money and how I make money and not burning out. And that's been really useful because that's not something I would necessarily think about. Like, it's in the back of my head, but it kind of pushes it to the forefront. So I think it's really good at excavating things that you might know, but you don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah. You really nailed that. Like it excavates things. That's so true. And I'll be honest, like sometimes it's hard to accept that, like, especially so, like, if you're maybe that's why we have other people read for us, like, they can just come right out and tell us what's up, and for us, it's like, "Well, no no, I don't. No, I'm not. What I'm not blocking anything," you know? And it's like, "Well, this card showed up for a reason," like, whether or not you believe it's spiritual or, like, even just, like, your own energetic field, like, it's there for a reason.
Right. Well, my shaman used to sometimes I'd get readings with him about a certain thing. And if I asked him about the same thing too much, he'd get really irritated with me and he'd be sort of not aggressive, but like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're wasting your time. You're wasting everybody's time. You really got to start focusing on different things. And like at the time I got offended. And now I'm like, he was reading the energy too of what I was doing. Like, he knew I was just sort of pushing myself into a corner when I should be focusing on things that mattered. And like that's one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't necessarily use tarot as much for self. It was more for other things. Like how can I create the things I want or make them happen? But it's about you. You have to, everybody has stuff they got to work through. It has to come from you and maybe then you could create what you want. But that's what I like about it. I really it is useful. I find it more useful in therapy right now just because it's helping me look into myself.
Hi, Sherry. Hi, Jenny. Thanks
Hello.
for joining. Yeah, more useful than therapy. Wow, that's big. Just want to acknowledge that. Like, that's really huge. And you said something that has been coming up for me so much the past couple weeks is like not taking it personally, right? Oh
Mhm,
my gosh. Okay, first off, just life lesson. That's one of the four agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz.
mhm.
Hey, Jerry. um, so like I think it's actually the first agreement, I'm not really sure, I can't remember, it's been a while since I read the book, clearly I should read that book again. But yeah, like, just not taking the cards personally, I mean, like, obviously, like, they're just cards, they're not, like, trying to attack you, right? They're trying to help, like, they're really trying to help, like, as brutal as the truth can be.
Hey, Sherry.
Sorry, it's the best, dude. Hi, Margaret, thanks for joining.
Hey.
So yeah, just my little four agreements tangent about not taking it personally. But that's like so hard, right? And I think that's coming back like in my awareness personally because I need to quit it. Like quit it. I'm taking like so much personally, dude. So
Mhm.
yeah, like just remembering even the cards, the cards aren't trying to attack. The cards are living their own dream, right? Like I'm in my own dream and, we're just happen to be coinciding and, you know,
And
it is what it is.
here's a thing that my shaman used to say to me, which when I was deep into the divination aspect and I'd get a reading that I didn't like and I'd freak out, he'd be like, "Listen, it's the energy of the moment. It's dependent on you, how you're feeling, and it's also dependent on like." And I don't know how much I agree with this because I'm still sort of an atheist, but like the energy of the cosmos or whatever, and it's gonna impact. So, like, you might get one reading 1 minute and then 10 minutes later do another reading and it's totally different because the energy is different. And like you can't going back to you can't take it personally. You can't take things as set in stone because you'll just drive yourself crazy. You gotta take it from where it comes from and acknowledge it might change. Like the future, in my opinion, isn't static. You could change it. So you need to like take that advice. Like it's not gonna be this way every single time necessarily. Everything changes, and even the tiniest things you do can change an outcome. So, like, that's what I try to remember if I get one that's and I don't really take it personally either anymore because I think I kind of got rid of that impression, but, um, just, like, it changes. It's not gonna be the same.
Yeah, that's a good point about the future. Yeah, I mean, I'm still taking things personally, so in my life, so I'm probably taking it personally with the cards too. So, something to note for
Yeah.
myself, jot it down. But yeah, I haven't gosh, I don't think I've used it as divination in a really long time. Um, because it was almost apparent right away that, like, this isn't you can't predict the future, like, sorry, like well,
Mm-mm.
at least not exactly, right? I know there's, like, stories of, like I forget who it was, but there was a book written about, like, the Titanic before it happened,
Mhm.
and so, like, I know there is, like, certain aspects, but I don't think they probably could have predicted, like, the exact date and time, like, I don't know, I
Mm-mm.
just like, I know, like, there has been, like, some documented stuff of, like, future things coming true, but it's not exact, and the timing is almost always wrong when it comes to, like, future prediction stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had I had a, yearly reading, which I don't think I'm gonna be doing those because, like, my stuff changes so much, but, yeah, like, actually, it was the beginning of 2020, I got a yearly reading, and, like, obviously, nothing really came up about not leaving your house, like, right? Um I think, like, the year's theme was, like, strength or something, and, um but there was one card in July, I cannot remember the card, I don't know if you'll like, I didn't know tarot at the time at all, like, I'd never even touched it, like, it was yeah, I don't remember the card, but she said, "I always read this card as angry woman," and I do not remember what it was.
Mhm.
But there was an event that happened, um, and it was actually a couple months later, that was like, "Oh, I wonder if that's what the angry woman card was about." So,
Was
yeah,
it justice or well, not temperance. Justice
no.
or judgment? Yeah.
No, I
I
think it was, one of the minor
oh,
suits.
maybe the Queen of Swords?
Maybe, I don't remember. I feel like it was very, like a numbered card that I wouldn't really remember.
Yeah. It's tough. Queen of Swords.
Oh, yeah.
So Jenny suggested,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't
I
yeah,
see
I
her as tough. She's like the tough woman, I feel like.
right. Yeah, like Angry Woman,
Hmm,
yeah, I don't
that's
know.
tough. It'll come to me when this is over, I'm sure. But for
Yeah,
now, I
maybe you can
can't.
ask my own deck. Oh, Ava says Two of Swords.
She's the
No.
blindfolded lady who's kinda, like,
Oh,
stuck
is that the
there,
one?
right?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, first off, look at how many choices there are,
Ah,
right?
that's
Like,
the
how many people are
argumentative card.
interpreting. I think that's, um
Yeah, it's difficult choice, indecision, and stalemate. Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, I do not remember, y'all. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Yeah, it's kind of cool though how that happens. I got one from Grey Galaxy who's on Substack. I highly recommend her because she's been doing this a lot longer than me. She's doing a Tarot 101 thing on September 3rd. So
Oh, that's cool.
tomorrow on her Patreon, you have to join it, but I really like the way she writes. She's really descriptive, and she did a year-long reading for me too. And I
Oh,
don't
well,
read I didn't read the whole thing. Yeah, that's a good point, Ava, especially since women are shamed for anger. Yeah,
I know,
anything
yeah.
less flattering, they're shamed for. Flattering. But yeah, I didn't read the whole thing, I kinda skimmed it, and I'm like, "Okay, whatever," and I read it later, like, I read the last couple months this month, and I was like, "Wow, everything she said, like, that's how it went for me." Like, I was burned out, she called that. She talked about, changing your approach, which I did in August, to writing, like, I started these Substacks to supplement my Medium work, and, of course, it's quote unquote "not making me money," but I like doing it because it's fun, and I think that's what the vibe was that she was trying to get at, like, you have to do things more for the enjoyment instead of
Yeah,
just burning yourself at both ends, and, like,
yeah.
everything she told me turned out to be correct, so I agree. I normally don't love, year-long readings, but this one, so far, she's been right on the money, so I
Was
think she's good.
was it month by month? Like, has that been lining up? Like, I'm curious. Really?
It
Nuh-uh.
has. She's been really accurate for me anyway, like I said,
Oh, okay.
everything she called ended up happening, and, like, I didn't read it before, so I try not to because I often 1, I forget, and I just skim it and I forget it exists, and 2, I also kinda wanna see if it's true later on, and it was.
Okay.
Like, I went back, I
Oh,
was like, "Wow, she called it." So I don't know if, our friend looking for people who do tarot, she does tarot, I don't think she does psychic work, but I really recommend her, Grey Galaxy. It's Galaxy with an IE, not a Y. She's on Substack, she's on Patreon, and she does readings too. So I check her out. I don't recommend too many people, but I really feel like she's on the up and up, and she's really tuned in. And she does written reports, which I like. Like, I'm more of a written person, so I can go back to it at any time and refer to it, and that's how I was able to come up with seeing all the stuff came to pass. Like, it was amazing.
wow, that's really cool. So, okay, you didn't have, like, a video? Nothing, like, you just filled out a form and she gave you, like, a PDF or something?
Yep, you go through her Patreon, so if you go on her Patreon, her shop isn't always up because she does it weekly. Um, she's really quite booked, I think, all the time, but she has
I
spots.
bet.
And you just once you buy the thing, she sends you a little questionnaire through Patreon direct messages, you fill it out, and she then does a PDF for you. So you don't listen or see her on video, but she does, like, the written, which I'm fine with. I don't necessarily need a video or audio, I actually prefer the written. So, I thought that
That's
was
really cool.
pretty effective.
Yeah, that's really cool, and yeah, I would have loved to have had my reading, like, written or, like I don't remember if I don't think I took a picture. I think I wanted to take a picture of that year-long reading, but, I don't think I did, or I didn't think of it till, like, later, so,
Yeah.
um But yeah, that would have been really cool to have like something in writing. And I didn't know there was a market for that because like I've literally been like thinking about doing like an oracle card reading service. Not like service, but like just an extra on like Buy Me a Coffee because I like doing it. I did do it for friends, but I haven't done it like for the general public or whatever. So, yeah, that's something that to explore that like I would like to explore at some point. But
You
that's
could
really cool.
probably
I'm
do it
glad that
on
that's
maybe Etsy, you could probably do it, and keep in mind they do take a lot of fees,
yeah.
so that's the only thing, but I know there's a lady on Medium named Emery, is it or Emarie? I think it's Emery Hodge, and she's on Etsy too, but she does free things on Medium and, like, daily pick-a-card
Mm.
things, so she's really good, and I like her readings as well. She does personalized ones on Etsy. And, there is a market for it. I mean, there's so many people on Etsy. It's insane. It's really hard to pick through who's like quote unquote accurate and who's not. But I feel like everybody, can give you something you might not know about yourself. Like it doesn't have to be everything 100%. I feel like you could get something from everyone. So I also think newer readers can be useful because they're not quite as stuck in patterns and, like, they could see things fresh. Like, I think there's some flexibility there, so I would totally agree you should look into that. I was thinking about it too. I just have too much writing work to do right now.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, for sure. There was something that you said, like, about doing things for enjoyment. I think that's really what it comes down to. Oh, and I wanted to interrupt you. You said you weren't making money on Substack, maybe it was, and I wanted to be like, "Yet." Just say
Yes.
"yet" at the at the end of that. I was
Yeah.
like, it takes time.
I mean, I hate
And
to be that person. I try not to be like, I'm all in this for the money, but, like, I'm trying to do this as a
yeah.
career too, and I wanna help my parents and renovate our house and all this stuff. So for me, writing isn't just a hobby, it's, like, how I make a living. So, I do tend to put pressure on it, and that's where the enjoyment goes away, whenever you
Yeah.
commodify something. So, I started these Substacks actually as a low pressure way to do something I enjoyed without, like, attributing any money to it. Like, I just wanted to write about the tarot, and I could go on Medium if I wanted and write about it, but I'm like, "You know what? I'll stick to what I'm doing there. I wanna do something for fun that's just creative that I feel like I'm drawn to." And, I think that helps because you need something to escape from what you're doing for work, whatever it is,
Yeah.
even if it is more writing.
Yeah, I think that's great that you let yourself do that. Hi, Ben. I
Hey,
think
Ben.
we're about, like, 5 minutes left, so,
Yeah.
do we wanna sum it up, I guess? Like, reversals, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy in life, like, do whatever.
I think so too. I think, the reversals can show you more internal, um, experiences that you might be having, or it could show you, you know and this is confusing because it's literally either or, totally opposite, that you have too much energy or too little energy in a specific card. And like I talked about the Fool card, I really like this one. She's sort of just having fun, jumping into the unknown, and yeah, she's going off a cliff, but, like, I feel like the cliff, she's not gonna end up getting injured. I feel like she just sort of going down a step into a new terrain. But reverse, it could mean either you're doing some crazy stuff that might be harmful to you, or conversely, that you're not doing that new thing. You're just sort of stuck in your head, like I was for years about writing on Medium. Like, I was terrified of sharing anything about myself. I didn't want people I knew to find my innermost thoughts. But,
Yeah.
like, I sat there and I thought about it and I thought about it, and finally I was like, "You know what? I don't care. I'll just start doing it." And so I think that's the Fool is, like, going forward, doing new things, trying new things, and maybe not even having expectations for it. And then, flipping it around, you get a whole different viewpoint. And you could do that with every card. I'm just using the Fool because I like this card. So, yeah, but I agree. I think if you're curious about these too, like, you could always look it up. There's a lot of different readers out there who have a lot of different perspectives, but a lot of them basically stick to those 4 impressions. Too much energy, too little energy, internal, or, looking at imagery and getting some feedback. I like to use Biddy Tarot. I am comfortable with her, but there's somebody called the Tarot Professor I spoke about here. She's on Substack. But yeah, if you're curious about reversals, definitely, look around online too. There's lots of feedback on that.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. I mean, like, when in doubt, go to the guidebook, you know?
Yeah, I agree. That's another important part because I think, myself too included, you want to be, have it in your head, but sometimes you need to look at the guidebook and see what they interpret your cards to mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I
Anyone
think
have questions in the last minute or two?
yeah, I think this has been a great conversation. As usual, we went on some tangents, which is, like, my favorite thing, so
Mhm. Yeah. I think that's where the valuable stuff comes out too. Like you think about things talking out loud too.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like no one is asking anything. So, if you're ready to wrap it up, we can wrap it up and we'll be back at some point, I guess, with another live. I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but
Oh, yeah, yeah. Figuring out which is the angry woman card.
there you go. Yeah, we're going to have to go through every deck and see who the angry woman is.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Our assignment, angry woman.
I'm going to look into that. So, if you're ready to sign off, I am too.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll be back at some point as it gets closer to fall. Thank God. No more
Yeah, I
summer.
have some stuff coming up. So yeah, I don't think I can commit to a date yet. Aw,
Yeah.
thanks. Thanks, Ava.
Thanks, Ava. Well, we'll come back at some point, and thank you everyone for jumping in. And we hope what we had to say was useful.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.